Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about Freedom Munitions at 1,000 yards in the AR-10. Okay, so these are the 150 grain bullets. I was shooting these out of this Palmetto AR-10 rifle. So this is the PA-10 Gen 3. It's got the 20-inch stainless steel barrel, 1 in 10 twist, okay, and it's got the primary arms 525 by 56 first focal plane scope on it. Okay, so let me show you guys the group. Okay, so this is at 1,000 yards. It took me a little while to actually figure out what my hold is and what my elevation is and what my wind hold is, right? But when I finally did, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. We're looking at the holes without the circles, right? Because these over here that you see with circles on them, and down there, that's me just trying to figure out what my wind hold needed to be. See them here? We got, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then number 8 was down here. I took a total of 8 shots. I got a video of this while I was shooting it. So the 7 out of 8 is at 11 inches. Okay, so that's for a 1.1 MOA. And then the 8th one I pulled, I actually saw the chevron jerk a little bit. That one dropped down here, so that opened up the group to 25 inches with this one over here. So that's still a 2.5 MOA at 1,000 yards with my jerk. Okay, so let me put this down for a second. So I was using this Freedom Munitions. Now I've got plenty of this Winchester 175 grain M118. Okay, got plenty of this stuff. Okay, another one over here. Got plenty of this stuff. I did not use it. I think I bought a total of 6 boxes. I've only gone through 1 box, and that was primarily just to do a comparison to see if there is a difference between this and this one over here. Use this as a weight right now. So that's how I pretty much use this one. Now this stuff is like $35 for a box, maybe $40 for a box. Okay, this stuff is $18 per box. Okay, so if you're shooting at 1,000 yards, there's the first thing you got to figure out is your elevation, right? Especially if you've been shooting different ammunition before. Because the last time I was shooting at 1,000 yards, I was using the 147 grain Freedom Munitions, which is a little bit slower. So I had to first figure out my elevation. The easiest way to do it is, like, I picked a target, a steel target at 1,000 yards, and I fired a couple of shots on it, and I could see the impacts, and that let me see where I had to adjust my elevation. So I just turned the dials. I think it was 12 mils. I ended up dialing up to 12 mils. On the day that I shot this, the wind was coming straight in. Okay, straight in. I didn't think there was any left and right wind, so I wasn't holding for wind at all, and I had to fire a bunch of shots before I finally started believing that shit. Even though I can't feel the wind pushing to the right, it's doing it. You know, it's very mild. It might have been like a 1 or 2, maybe a 2 mile per hour wind or 3 mile per hour wind, but it was actually doing it. It was pushing a little bit to the right, so I ended up having to hold about 2 mils to the left. And that's when I shot this, when I finally got this group over here. So my mistake there was that it took me that long to actually start believing that, yeah, the wind is really pushing, even though I really couldn't feel it pushing to the right. So which actually leads me to my next point here. Why I don't want to be using ammunition that's like $40 a box. Okay? Because when you're shooting at 1,000 yards, unless you do it on very often, and I only get to do this maybe 2 or 3 times a year, okay, go to 1,000 yard range, because it's a 4-hour drive each way from where I'm at here. So it's a total of 8 hours of driving in a day. So I only do this like maybe 2 or 3 times a year max. Okay, so I don't have a whole lot of experience doing 1,000 yards. I've done it a bunch of times already, but not a whole lot, and it's usually a good time period between from one time to the other. So when you get to the 1,000 yard range, okay, there's going to be some trial and error. Okay, there's going to be figuring stuff out. So in order to finally get this group over here that you guys saw with that, with the 7 out of 8, 11 inches at 1,000 yards, right? 1.1 MOA. In order to get that group, I had to basically shoot about 60 rounds of this stuff before that, right? In order to just shooting at different. Well, some of it I was just shooting on steel, just trying to get some confidence. So I had to go through about 60 rounds. Okay, so if I'm going to go through 60 rounds, which is 3 boxes of this stuff, I would rather be doing it at $18 a box than $40 a box. Okay, so that's one of those things that I think is important consideration. I mean, cost is an important consideration. It's not like when I go to shoot 200 yards or 300 yards or even 500 yards, right? When I shoot 500 yards, especially with 308, because the wind doesn't move the bullet around that much, especially if it's a wind that I can barely feel left or right. All right, if I can barely feel the wind left or right, at 500 yards, my hold is 3 mils. At 500 yards, I'll put my holding point on it, and I'm gonna get on the paper. Okay, at 1,000 yards, you may not get on the paper. You might have to experiment a little before you figure out your wind hold, right? Because the wind, again, it's very inconsistent. It does different things at different positions along the range. You may not be feeling it here, but it might be in the middle, whatever. So the point is, there's a little bit of experimentation that has to happen to shoot that 1,000 yards and actually get on the paper and get a nice grouping. Okay, so I definitely, I'm going to be buying more of this stuff versus this stuff. So this stuff, the main point of me keeping this around now is just to confirm that this stuff shoots as good as this stuff. Okay, now when I shoot this stuff, I'll test it out at 100 yards and at 200 yards. Occasionally I might see one that goes a little bit off, but it's I don't know if I find myself second guessing it. Did I jerk it? Because you're always going to do that, right? If you get one off with something that you've consistently you've seen it hit 1-inch groups, 1 MOA groups enough times, and then you see one go off, then you say, well, was that a bad round, or was it just me pulling the trigger a little bit and I didn't feel it? Okay, so because the same exact thing has happened with this stuff, right? In that one box that I shot, okay, I shot a couple of different groups, and on a few of them, I saw it, I saw one shot that went off, and again, it's probably me. All right, so that's the reality of it. You're not going to shoot your best all the time. Okay, so you're not going to be your best. The wind is sometimes going to mess with you. So if I'm going to be, if I have to allow for the mistakes that can happen because I pull it or because I guess the wind wrong, I really would rather be doing it at $18 a box than $40 a box. Okay, I'm just putting this out there. I do not. I have absolutely zero communication with the company that makes this stuff. Zero, none. I don't have any coupon codes for you. I got nothing. I don't get any promos. This is. I'm just a guy that likes to shoot 1,000 yards every once in a while. So I got no interest in telling you guys to buy one over the other than this stuff is cheaper, and I have a genuine interest in saving people money because here's the thing: I'm a gun instructor. Okay, I make money just from training people. I don't get paid anything for doing promotions or anything like that. So, in order for me to train people, right, I want to be able to give them cheaper options, because if I'm able to give them cheaper options and say, hey, here's a $600 AR-10, right? Daily deal, $200 for the lower, $400 for the upper if you get it on daily deal, $500 scope here, right? 5 to 25, $500. So I've got $1,100 here total that will get you out to 1,000 yards with really nice groups, right? Because with a 1.1 MOA at 1,000 yards, man, you know what? I find myself saying, I wish I could get to a 1,200 yard range or a 1,500 yard range and try this out, okay? And if I got to do 8 hours of driving to get to 1,000 yards, man, I think the closest one I saw that that goes to 1,200 yards is somewhere out in Ohio. So I would probably like, I mean, it's probably something like 20 hours of driving. Okay. So I mean, you know, so yeah, I wish I could get to basically to more distance. Essentially, with this combination here, with this $1,100 gun, and with this $18 per box ammunition, it's like, okay, 1,000 yards is no longer enough. Okay, I need something longer to even test it, you know, longer to test myself out. So I want to try and get you guys in that position. So my thing is like, I like to be like, as long as the group is inside of 20 inches, right? Because that's about the width of a man. That's a good group. So what I would do, right, if I had the ability to get out to longer distance, is I would keep pushing this out to see at what distance does this open up to 20 inches. Okay, at what distance does it open up to 20 inches? Because that's the distance where, okay, that is, you know, that's the width of a man. That's like where what I would consider the capability of this gun and this ammunition. Let me do this. Let me give you guys some data. Because I ran this through a chronograph. Now, let's see. With this Freedom Munitions in the 20-inch barrel, okay, 150 grains. I did, was like five rounds over here. You can see the variances here. The variance is actually pretty tight, right? So the difference between the fastest and the lowest shot is 36. Okay, 36 feet per second. That's match grade. Okay, the difference of 36 feet per second. So the average velocity was 28.32. Energy 26.71. Okay, momentum, that's the momentum. Momentum 60.69. Okay, now I did it again down here with the 150 grain. All right, so these 5 shots. Now this was on a different day with a different box, maybe different temperatures. Again, with the 150 grains, what I do here? 5-shot group again. Okay, again the variance, the speed, the difference between the fastest and the slowest in this 5-shot group was 41 feet per second. Okay, so that's going to give you tight one. I mean, actually, I've hit half MOA groups. I have hit it, but it's usually with 3 shots. I'm usually not good enough to do it with all 5 shots. It's usually me pulling it. Okay, so on this group here, the average velocity was 27.95, and the energy was 26.03. Okay. That's 2,603 foot-pounds. Okay. Now I also did the 147 grain in the 20-inch. The 147 grain, even though it's a lighter bullet, it's actually going at a slower speed. Okay, so much less felt recoil. So the this one I managed to get a 3-shot group. I think I was having an issue with the chronograph giving me readings. Okay, so the 3-shot group was average 27.20 feet per second. Variance was only 15, right? So that would have been like a half MOA group if I had shot these 3 shots on paper. Energy 24.15. So there's a significant drop, almost like more than 200 foot-pounds of energy from the 150 grain to the 147 grain. Okay, I did it again down here with the 147 grain. Again, this one I got 2 shots because again I was probably having difficulty getting readings. Velocity 27.15, energy 24.07. Okay, but if we look at the velocity, right, it looks like it's about the 147 grain. Okay. Which is just a little bit lighter, so only 3 grains lighter, is about 100 feet per second slower, okay, the 147 grain, which means that it's going to go subsonic probably about 50 yards sooner, okay? So somewhere around 700 to 800 yards, maybe, somewhere in the middle, somewhere between 700 and 800 yards, these bullets are going to go subsonic. And when they go subsonic, after that point, they start destabilizing. Doesn't mean that they're immediately going to start destabilizing, because obviously I was able to get to 1,000 yards for a nice group here. But after they go subsonic, I mean, you're kind of running. You start running out of gas, basically. Okay, once you go subsonic. So the 150 grains, which is running 100 feet per second faster, is going to get you a little bit further, and it's probably going to give you slightly tighter groups just because it's going to go subsonic, 50 yards later. Okay, so I definitely recommend the 150 grains over the 147 grains. Now these are new because they also have. If you go to Freedom Munitions website, they also have remanufactured. I don't get that. I just get the new ones. Okay, the new ones. Now they also have like the premium ones. I don't get the premium ones, right? I think the premium ammo is something like $22 or $25 per box. I just get. I mean, this stuff is good enough, man. It gets me to 1,000 yards, so I just get this stuff, And I hope Freedom Munitions doesn't watch this video and say, hey, if we keep making this budget ammo so good, people aren't going to want to buy the premium stuff, and they start messing around with this. Right? I hope they keep this stuff good. But this, get the 150 grains. The only reason I would get you would want to get the 147 grains is because the recoil is less. Okay, it is softer shooting. On the adjustable gas valve over here, I usually have to open it up one more click, right, to give it a little bit more gas so that I get the bolt to hold open on the last round. I gas it down to give me I gas it down so that I have just enough gas in there to lock the bolt back. Okay, so that's how I run. Now, if I was going to war with this, yeah, I would open it up 2 more clicks, but I'm not. I'm just trying to get tight groups, so I want it the least amount of gas in there that will still get the gun to work. Okay, so with the 147 grains, I have to open it up 1 more click. When I go back to the 150 grains, I close it 1 more click. So the Palmetto has, they say 17 gas positions. It's really 15, right? There's 15 clicks that I can hear. I got 2 of them, a 20-inch and a 16-inch. It's about 15 clicks, and I'm usually running it in position number 2 now, right? Position number the second, not the first one, the second one. So number 2 out of 15 clicks, or 2 out of 17. So that's where I run it, and it has just enough to lock it open. So yeah, I mean, this stuff is great, man. On the holidays, like Black Friday weekend, they usually give you free shipping with over 400 rounds. So what I'm going to do is, as soon as I see free shipping on their website, I'm going to order some more of this stuff. Okay, because this stuff's really good. I'm not planning to order more of this stuff because it's expensive, and I don't think it's that much better. It might be a little bit better, but listen, man, I'm getting to 1,000 yards with this stuff, so I think I'm just going to keep doing that, right? All right, so drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think. I did do another video on this where I was on this 1,000-yard shooting, where I was talking about the rifle mostly, but I really feel that it's really the ammunition more than the rifle. I mean, I think that almost all rifles today, almost all, not all of them, but almost all, will probably get 1 MOA groups with good ammunition, okay? Because my thinking is that the technology has been around long enough, right? That manufacturers will have to actually go out of their way to make less accurate AR-15s, okay? And there's probably only so many companies out there that make the machinery to bore out the barrels, right? To do the rifling. So probably only so many companies out there. So companies would have to go out of their way to make machinery to create less accurate rifles, at least for AR-15s, because AR-15s are just so widely sold. Just the scale that the barrels are made on, and it just makes sense for them to use the same equipment to make all the barrels, regardless of whether they're being sold as budget rifles or they're being sold as premium rifles. That's what I suspect. I don't know 100%, but I've got a lot of AR-15s. I've got I got 2 AR-10s, and I got a bunch of AR-15s. I mean, I can get, with good ammo, I can get 1 inch at 100 yards with all of them, okay? So anyway, drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think. Talk to you soon. Oh, by the way, it doesn't mean that I get at 1 inch all the time, okay? That's an important thing. I don't get it all the time. And the reason why I don't get it all the time is most likely because of me. Sometimes the wind, because like today's a very windy day. I would have a hard time getting a 1 inch, a 1 MOA group on a day like this where the wind's like going back and forth. So yeah, you gotta be a little realistic in your shooting. Okay, you're not always going to shoot your best. I practice that almost every day. I don't always shoot my best. Okay, talk to you all soon. Yeah, you guys look. So that's the Palmetto AR-10, PA-10 Gen 3. Primary rounds 5 to 25. Scope on it. What was it? 525 by 56. First focal point. Heavy. 20-inch barrel is heavy. So I'm dialed up 12 mils on this. Recoil's a lot lighter. Okay. So I didn't see any splashes. They're either on the paper or they're all like wildly off. Okay. All right. So this is 1,000 yards. That's where we're shooting at, way down over there. So this is 1,000 yards over here. And yeah, we got hits, man. We got hits. Now I don't remember what the total number of shots that I took. I did have information from the previous shots that I put out here. Because I shot 1, 2, that was the first group, and then the rest had all gone over there. And then I shot another group where I had 1, 2, rest gone over there. I really couldn't spot the impacts today, and it might just be because the ground seems like it's a little bit wetter over here, so it just wasn't putting up dust. So this time when I shot, my holding point, my chevron was like way over here. All right, so I was holding way over here, I guess about 4 feet, 3 or 4 feet to the left, okay? And my impacts were way over here. And I've got the fresh ones with no circle. We got, actually, let me see if I can zoom back so you guys can see it a little bit better. No, can't zoom back. Shit, okay, let's start from the bottom. We got 1 there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots. I don't know what the total I took at this was, but we got 8 on target. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots out of however many we took. I have to go back in the video and look at it. And I have no doubt that a bunch of them went someplace over here to the right. Basically, I should have been holding a lot more to the left. But the grouping is pretty good. I'm like, they're tight, you know. That's a tight grouping. Hold on, let me go get a tape measure. So we've got a cluster here of about 11 inches. Okay, we're not ignoring that one down there. Let's say I pulled that one. We got a cluster here of 7 shots of what I say was 11 inches. 11 inches. And it's starting to get dark, sun setting, so I'm just going to call it a day. I answered the question that I had, which was like how easy or how hard would it be to get out here with the 1 to 10 scope? And yeah, with the 1 to 10 scope, pretty hard. With the ACOG, impossible. Because over here on this target over here, I was shooting the 1 to 10 earlier. And with the 1 to 10, it was like absolutely impossible to spot any impact. So I just didn't know where to adjust. I couldn't get any hits on target. So that 5 to 20, I mean, if you got to shoot 1,000 yards, I mean, yeah, you need that 5 to 25 scope. Because I don't think it's a 20-inch barrel that made the difference, you know, because, yeah, the 1 to 10 had a 16-inch barrel. It wasn't the barrel length that made the difference. It was the scope, just the ability to see, spot a few impacts, and correct on it. And again, I did have some difficulty of spotting the impacts. I was able to spot more impacts with the 5 to 25 than I could with the 1 to 10 and make quicker adjustments. So that's why we got the hit. I think we might have actually hit this knocked this target over at some point today.